mine is also going.
Sweet. Hey, thanks for jumping in. We're going to be getting here started too, just getting some final things set up.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know one of them's you, I believe, because I have 2 viewers.
Yeah, one should be me.
And I believe it should have pinged me into my buddy's Discord as well as soon as I went live. Make sure. Special announcements. It did not, so I do that now too. Dude, I got offered a junior software engineering job.
Oh.
Hybrid into, like it's remote now, but into a in-person position.
Congrats.
It's in Urbandale, Iowa.
That started sounding more disgusting. I mean, congrats all the same. Like, moving up in the world is always nice. Oh, what am I doing? I can just go there. Okay, so the way I was planning on it was we can do one each, and then we can just
rotate like that.
Yeah, we can just roll it down and we can see what's going on with it.
Drop it into streams here. Okay, talking about some new Phyrexian cards coming out. New Phyrexian all will be one set. Do my little shameless plug. WoW Magic the Gathering Club? No. I don't think Printing Proxies has like a hey, shout out your stream.
Yeah, I don't know either. But could be good.
Self promo. I'm gonna drop it into this one that I'm in.
That was really confusing for a second. I don't know why that was confusing, but all right, Wolf. Oh, I don't know why that switches. Interesting. Because it should just be this one. Is it window capturing? Oh, no. Don't you be doing that. Properties, capture method, window. We'll just cancel that. We'll remove that, and then we're gonna try to do this correctly. Window capture, video, display media, image, camera capture, display capture. I don't think it's display. Is it window capture? Might be. That'll work. All right.
You ready to rock?
Yeah, I will say you got a lot of static on your end.
Oh, I do? Here, hang on, let me try to...
It might be picking up some stuff.
I was gonna say, is that good?
Yeah, that is better.
Cool. Yeah, I had to bring it close to me and put the filter in front of it, because I got like a cool little standing mic.
Oh, you got a pop filter and all that?
Yeah, that way I can just do my ASMR, you know.
Oh, yeah. We do a little Magic the Gathering ASMR. Just start slapping cards onto the field. A little shuffle action.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good to kick it when you are.
Alrighty. Good stuff. And I got your guy on there. All right. How does it sound on your? Can you pop into mine and just see how it sounds?
Yeah. Let me see. Where are you streaming it? On YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube.
YouTube.com. And I follow you, so let me.
Oh, that's gross.
Mordino from the Maybe Board episode 2.
Damn it.
Okay.
I don't like that it'll do that.
The volume up on my thing. And
check.
slight...
Checkity check.
And there's a slight delay between the YouTube and
real life, yeah. I was gonna say, if you want your streams to be like nice and crispy, you gotta have a little bit of a delay on there just for technology's sake. But all right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, sweet.
And I'm going to mute yours, and I'll still have yours up, so it's a viewer count, you know.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, cool. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to do before we started, and it was. Wow, it is really gonna be that close. All right, I'm set when you are. If you wanna hit your
pulling them up now. Just do open all for these. Open. We'll do like a little slideshow of them.
Yeah.
And then there we go. Make me zoom in for each one, but fuck it. Boom. Okay, so then I guess I'll pick the one that I want to get into first.
I would whatever order you're thinking about. I say that in our chat you should just put it in that order.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say the one that I want to get into the most is this Kaya one. I'm super excited about it.
Okay, perfect. Actually, how about this? I'll start with Kato, and then you go to Kaya, because I was actually really interested in Kato, and Kaya's right after, so then we can just continue the thing from there.
Yeah, we'll go down the line. All right, so I have it up, and then on mine, I'm changing my screen now and getting it started. Cool.
Cool.
All right, and go. Everybody.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the stream. This is From the Maybe Board. As always, I am Mordino, and I am joined by the illustrious Accidental Dad.
I am. There's a crazy echo somewhere.
Oh, man. I totally just lost you. You good?
Give me this. I need to take this off of here. This is in the recording.
It's all good. I was gonna say I added a lot of stuff out, so don't.
On headphones, maybe that'll be better. All right.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
Let's try that again.
Alrighty. Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is From the Maybe Board. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Lord Mordino, joined by Accidental Dad, TTV. You can find us on YouTube and Twitch on links below. And then, as always, we want to try and start off our show with a little bit of good news, especially before we jump into the uber depressing, always destructive completion of our favorites. And then, what's good, Lunar? Good to see you in here.
Indeed.
I guess the way that all of our shows are gonna go is we shoot all the messages out, we get started, we hit live, we hit go, and then boom, someone joins in.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah,
it's just gonna be a running joke at this point. Lunar, how you doing?
pretty good.
Literally just started.
Just got done with some family gaming.
Very nice, very nice.
That's
Welcome.
why I'm late.
Yeah, no, you're all good. So the way that we're gonna structure this one, we're gonna be doing the planeswalkers, that have either been completed or are just in the Phyrexia. All will be one set. But first, we're gonna do a little bit of good news, bad news. Well, I should say we're gonna do a little good news before we get to the bad news, because some planeswalkers are not gonna have a good time in the next couple of months.
Mamma mia.
No. So Tony, why don't you take us off with the good news that you got for the day?
Okay, yeah. So the good news that I found for the day is I found this little article here on ScienceDaily.com. It's kind of a little resource for all the up and coming latest science and research that has been done in every field. We got health, physical and tech, top environment, the works. So the one that I wanted to talk to everybody about today is they did a study on our daily lives and how being sedentary is bad. We all know that, but everybody goes, as long as I get up and work out and I do my thing, I'll be all right. And actually, they did a study and they found that even if you have to sit down all day for your job, as long as you get up and, like, let's say walk to the coffee machine at least twice an hour, just kind of get up from your desk, stretch, and just walk around for like a minute, it improves your overall health, your back, the muscular fatigue that happens from sitting all day, as well as that mental drain that you get as well. It's all just from getting up and walking around for about a minute.
Nice. Well, that's good, because that's about as much on average that I have to play with my cats before they do zoomies all over the place and crash into my stuff.
Yeah, so you can
That's
sit
so
down,
cool.
get into a game of Commander. Just make sure at some point you go, hey, hang on, guys, I'm gonna get up and walk around.
Oh, perfect. Well, good stuff. My good news for the day, I actually have two of them, but one of them is more of like a fun fact than anything else. But I just thought it was good news for especially me, because I'd be rocking a good beard. So this is on the conversation of whether you should have a beard or not, and why they thought that historically men had beards and women just didn't evolve to keep them. And they kind of put it in the historical realm of, like, men get into more fights and have more like of a run out and like hunter-gatherer kind of aesthetics. And they did a test where they put a dummy out and then they put different kinds of material on them to kind of simulate different kinds of beard lengths. And they found out that essentially, after repeated impacts, having a beard after like so many, and I'll put something on screen a little later for better context. But essentially what it did is that in a normal case of impacts to face, the skull would break about 95% of the time as their baseline. But having a beard and no other like modifiers to like their test brought it down to 45% of fractures that were induced.
Oh,
So just having a beard in a fight gives you like a small but noticeable leg up in damage over time. It's
so
not
almost like it's like a buffer.
Yeah.
Cushion.
It's a nice little like dampener. Now, that isn't typically the kind of good news that I want to try and put on here. I want to make sure that there's good news for everybody, and that's more of like fun fact. It's good news for me and all of the other beautiful bastards out there that beard themselves on a daily basis. So I have some good news for everybody. And it turns out the U.S. government did a thing, which, if you're out of the country, I can only describe it as the snail's pace that is our Constitution and all of the people that are supposedly supporting it. They passed a bill benefiting wildlife conservation. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a wildlife bill that will see $1.4 billion allocated to conserving endangered species. This will include all like up to 12,000 species of plants and animals.
Damn.
Nice.
Very.
Oh, yeah.
I got a soft spot for the environment, and I always like seeing it when some people actually, give a damn about it. But it's really nice. In the United States alone, there's like 1,600 animals that have been identified as threatened and endangered, and a lot of this money is going to go towards helping a lot of those animals kind of provide or to survive in the near future. Hawaii alone is going to receive like $60 million of this funding, which is really, really nice because anything that happens to those islands definitely creates a much bigger impact than, other states.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, that's our good news for the day. So if this is getting out late, Phyrexia All Will Be One will be launching February 10th. Whether you get to early pre-release events and stuff like that will your mileage will vary on that. However, these are all of the relevant planeswalkers that are going to be in the set. A couple weeks ago, WotC kind of teased out that there was going to be 10 featured planeswalkers. 5 of them were registered as safe, and 5 of them were registered as to be completed. And we played a fun little mini game with our heartstrings, and we're going to be going over each one of them. I highly encourage anybody who doesn't want these things to be quote spoiled to turn off now. They have all officially been leaked or like showcased. So WotC has officially put them all out. So we're kind of lightly outside of the whole like spoiler-esque kind of thing. But if you're trying to enjoy Dominaria Remastered and you don't want to hit into Phyrexia All Will Be One stuff just yet, this stream and this podcast is not for you at the moment. However, we are going to be sharing our thoughts on all of the Planeswalkers, their costs, their abilities, relevant cards, and just kind of our general ranking of them. So we're going to roll down them kind of in no explicit order. But I'm definitely going to be grabbing this first one because this is a new Planeswalker that I actually have kind of near and dear to my heart because I'm not like an old school Magic the Gathering guy. But I thoroughly enjoy a lot of the new stories that have been coming out, and this particular character kind of just like hits all of the right margins for me. So the first Planeswalker that we're going to be talking about, Tony's already got up on the screen there, is going to be Kaido Dancing Shadow. It's going to be two blue black legendary Planeswalker with 3 loyalty. He has a static ability that whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return one of them to your hand, and if you do, you may activate the loyalty abilities of Kaido twice, rather than just once during your turn. Then he has a +1 ability, up to 1 target can't attack or block until your next turn. He has a 0 ability, which is just draw a card, a -2, create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch, and it has the text, when this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I think this guy is incredible. He's not busted by any means. He's not an auto-include in any deck strategy as far as I know. But I thoroughly enjoy the kind of play that he puts out. And I could see him being run in any deck and any style without having any sort of excluded kind of play. Tony, what is your thoughts on this guy?
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, me personally, I already know what deck of mine I'm going to add this into. Just off the rip, he has return to hand effects. So we all love the little like bounce to hand on cheap ETB things. And in blue and black especially, there's a lot of ETB target creature gets -1/-1. ETB draw 2 cards. Like in blue, there's that fish. Or like when it ETBs, you could draw 2 cards. And blue also has a ton of, when this card ETBs, untap lands. ETBs, untap target artifact. Like blue, just this being able to play something and have those return enter the battlefield effects is great in and of itself. Then you throw in card advantage and the ability to essentially stop combat for a creature. You can make it so something can't attack, so you're playing against that guy that's running Voltron, and then you +1 and his commander can't attack. It just straight shuts it down.
Yeah.
And then, or block. So if you're playing anything that you want to get through, like those little ETB things that you want to bounce back to hand, be like, oh, hey, that thing can't block this turn.
Yep.
And I think his neg 2, for me personally, I don't have any decks that'll be great with that, but just having something where, one, you create a creature with Death Touch is great to keep as a little at-home blocker.
Oh, yeah.
Then when this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's all around love the card. Love the card. I'm including it in my Ramses the Assassin Lord deck as soon as I can get my hands on one of these.
Yep.
100%. Love it. Yeah, love it. I do not see a downside. If anything, the only downside is that it comes in at 3, so it is susceptible to like a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
As an example, but for 4 CMC, you get card draw, you get advantage in combat tricks, you get return to hand effects, and you get blockers all around great card.
Yeah. Lunar, what's your thoughts on Kato Dancing Shadow?
I think it's pretty cool. I don't really have anything in specific that I will put him in like instantly, but if I get him, I think it would be a pretty good upgrade in my Urza Precon. Not like incredible, but artifact, token creature generation, card draw, and protecting yourself. That's pretty good.
It did actually like kind of burn past me that there's a lot of Tezzeret kind of decks that really like having just artifact creatures out. And I will say artifact creatures have definitely taken a much bigger like emphasis on like the battlefield. And I think that this is kind of like, I think he's going to be kind of a sleeper hit. Like I know like he's a ninja and he's going to be coming out of nowhere, but I genuinely think that this Planeswalker is going to be one that like when you see it, it's definitely going to offer, like he just offers so much without very many downsides. Like you could totally plus him up twice and you could politic with that. Drawing cards will never be a bad thing, especially if it's just a 0. Like I'm struggling to find like the possible one thing that I could nitpick about this card is that it's 4 CMC and that slot is just very like it's very crowded and it's typically really crowded in a lot of decks. So he doesn't like push anything into like a serious like he's not an auto include for being 4 CMC, but if you're 4 CMC like section in a Dimir deck or multicolor deck, you're definitely gonna have to think about whether or not you want him in your deck really hard. But like post combat main phase, drop 2 cards for 4 mana, not bad. Drop him early, get like death touch creatures out, not bad. Being able to like control the battlefield with block or like can't attack, like just really, really good. I took a look at his old card and he was a 3 CMC for 3. He phased out at the beginning when he first enters, so kind of protected himself, so he's kind of keeping that theme. He had a draw and then discard unless you attack this turn, which is kind of funny because now he's a little bit like more experienced and he's got the ability to draw just off of like a 0 without making you discard, and he can do it twice if you've attacked. And then he had like a tutor effect on the bottom of him for his ultimate. He is lacking an ultimate per se. He's one of those like mid-ranged planeswalkers for sure. But I would love to be able to find a good reason to put him into decks, and I could see him just doing some serious work. You brought up Lightning Bolt, and whoa, jeez.
To the Lunar New Year.
Oh, I just deafened myself. There was an ad that played, and that hurt. Sorry for anyone else that heard that, because that one scared the shit out of me. You talked about Lightning Bolt and how he could take out Kaido, and in my head, I was kind of like, how prevalent is Lightning Bolt? So I did a quick check, and I think it might be something that we can talk about just because, like, Bolt the Bird has just been a meme for what feels like centuries at this point. So right now, EDH Rec, it is in 9% of relevant decks. So it's not like every single red deck is running it. I would love, like, as somebody who really likes like stats and stuff like that, I'd love to see the breakdown of it, and I'm just not prepared to answer that question later. This might be something we could do on a future episode, but like, just how relevant is Lightning Bolt? Might be something worth like continuing into.
Definitely.
Being that like in the same turn, Kaido can kind of tell a creature not to attack and create a blocker. Definitely is some relevance that we shouldn't gloss over.
Well, that and then being able to activate his abilities twice in a turn,
Yeah.
as long as one creature you control deals combat damage. Now that
This is not
3 is
very
a
hard.
5, or let's say you draw a card and then you do 1, so now it becomes a 4, but you have card advantage. It's all around not a bad card in any way, shape, or form.
No. This is a really solid like next in line. I'm very pleased to see that he's going to survive, because I was gonna be pretty mad if any of the Kamigawa planeswalkers got taken out. And we'll see what my feelings are later on. But I'm glad to see that Kato is gonna be on the good side for a while. All right.
Jumping into the next one here. This one I was initially extremely excited about.
Okay.
But is overall not my favorite from this set.
Okay.
But I believe definitely worth getting into. Kaya, the Intangible Slayer.
Okay.
So Kaya the Intangible Slayer is a 7 CMC Planeswalker. This is an expensive Planeswalker. So 3 colorless, 2 white, 2 black. Hexproof, which is great.
Yep. No
2...
bolting Kaya today.
Yeah, no bolting Kaya. +2, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. You can 0 her to draw 2 cards, and then each opponent may scry 1. And then the -3, exile target creature or enchantment. If it wasn't an aura, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying and advantage to its other types. So, here is my thoughts on this card. I love the abilities that it has. The fact that it is a 6 coming in, has hexproof, so you don't have to worry about any of the destroy planeswalker or bolting something, especially with it being 6. Like, this is a big thing. It has card advantage for 0, which you're letting your opponent scry 1, but you draw 2 cards. Can't complain.
Flying doesn't matter enough that it doesn't.
Yeah.
That it hinders you all that much.
Exactly. I mean, you do let somebody flip through 1 card, but it's nothing crazy. Each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. And white and black is amazing. We're talking decks built around clerics and gain drain decks. And then the -3 is the one that the first time I read it, I was like, oh, okay, it's removal for -3 on a planeswalker. And then when I saw the create a token that's a copy of it, there's for sure going to need to be a little clarification in that, because am I creating a token that's a copy of it, or is there just the creation of a token where it was exiled?
No, it's referencing you. You create a token
well, I'm
copy
saying,
of it.
if it's referencing you, that's amazing, because it's exiled, not destroy, so it gets around all indestructible stuff. Or enchantment, so like somebody's got that oh wow, it just popped out of my head. Smothering Tithe. Somebody's got a Smothering Tithe out. Now it's my Smothering Tithe.
Mystic Study? Mine.
Yeah, Rhystic Study, mine. We're talking Tate of Erebos,
Ulamog.
now mine. Ulamog, now mine. Like, you're able to steal things as if you're running like a pirate deck for a -3 that you can do the turn she comes out. So personally, I think that is great. Overall, I would say 7 CMC for this planeswalker, which does not include an emblem, is a bit high. You are talking about the immediate use of a spell that says take control of target creature, or that's essentially what it is. Like, you're gonna exile it and then create one yourself.
Luna, what's your thoughts on Kaya?
I think it's pretty good. I don't really have a ton to say about it, but I like the +2. Very quick and good to get off.
Hmm.
But
See-
good card advantage with white, though also black. So, granted, that's given.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd say Tony covered a lot of what I would say.
So I read this card a little differently. I read this as 7 mana, skip your turn, create a target copy of something, and like steal something. Except it's a worse version of it. I can't get over that like cost. It seems like when I've gotten to digest this card a little bit more. And like even flavorly, she's not getting what I really want out of her, because this is supposed to be like Kaya at like her peak. This is supposed to be like she's got a lot of really high relevance in the story, like especially right now, and then the new stuff if you're caught up with it. And oh man, this just reeks of bad things. Like if I ever said a card costs 7 mana and the first thing you intend to do with it is let each of your opponents scry, oh, that just sounds awful. Even if it means you draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
If that had said draw 5 cards, I might be thinking differently.
So I definitely agree with you're saying that you're going to use this the turn it comes out to steal something.
Right.
I think instead of that bottom one there, if they had done, she comes out as a 6, but neg 6, and it's the emblem that the other Kaya Planeswalker had. Pull it up really quickly. Images.
At the
believe
beginning
it's
of upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand.
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm looking to pull up right here. It's Kaya the Geist Hunter.
Yeah.
Drag this.
Oh, that.
Drag this over.
Oh yeah.
Really quick, I'll drag it over here. So right here, it's the. Oh wait. Dang, no, not this one.
I don't.
Where is it?
I don't think any of them.
Honorable.
Kaya Interactable.
You gain an
Yeah,
emblem
Being's
with it at the
Honorable,
beginning of your
right
upkeep. You may cast a spell from your hand, graveyard, or amongst things you own in exile without paying the mana cost.
Yes. Now, if she came back with that emblem as like a instant kill on a 7 Planeswalker, so if you wanted her to stick around, we'd be expecting her to +2, each opponent loses 3 life, you gain 3 life, and then next turn get the emblem. That's a thing. Or just off rip 7 to get an emblem. That's also, I can justify spending 7 to do that. You know what I mean?
I can't get over the fact that like I really like Kaya. I have a whole page in like my binders dedicated to Kaya, and I love all of her art and alternate artworks and stuff like that. I can't justify this pushing my mana curve up so high for doing something so little. If that negative had been like an ultimate that was like, let's say everything on this card was the same, but let's say that -3 was instead -7 or a negative, like let's say like it gave you 1 turn to answer it, or it was gonna alt, and it was just like this super threat of activation, and like you got to steal somebody's whole board, like create
like
token
exile
copies.
Exile all permanents on the battlefield. Once per turn, you're allowed to play one of those without paying its mana cost.
So yeah, something like that would be really cool. Or like -7 for each opponent, choose 2 non-land permanents and create token copies of them that are 1/1 white spirits with flying in addition to their other types. Like,
or it's not one thing.
Yeah,
sure.
like exile target creature or enchantment if it wasn't an aura like that. And I'm sure there's some rules text behind it and stuff like that. Oh man, I was really excited. I was like, damn, 6 loyalty. I'm not even scared of it though, because like everyone's gonna want to jump after it. Like everyone's drained for 3 life. Why couldn't you have gained life equal to life loss and gain 9 life in a commander game? Like there's
that, or instead of the each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life, just something along the lines of like gain control of target creature until end of turn or
Yeah.
something. Like something that went more along the lines of Kaya's ability of essentially Kaya's ghost form is what I think of when I think of Kaya.
Yeah.
Something goes away and it comes right back.
Yeah. Or
I don't think of the cleric lose 3 life, gain 3 life.
yeah. I also would have like, and just kind of looking back at her cards, I'm like crossing over Oath of Nylea or Oath of Kaya, and it's 1 Orzhov legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. When opponent attacks a planeswalker you control, it deals 2 damage to that player and you gain 2 life. I'd love to have like that as like an emblem that like that could have been her negative ability or her plus even.
Okay.
Like I want this card to do so much more, but I feel like this card looks so cool in like a vacuum. Like if you just didn't stare at the mana cost for a second and you did the rest of it, I feel like this is like a meal that you order and you know you're going to take home like leftovers, but then it's just this box that's sitting in your fridge and it's doing nothing for you and you know you're just going to have to toss it later because it stinks up your fridge. Like that's how I imagine this. Like,
and I want to take a second to say that Wesley Burt, the artist here for this Kaya, she slays in this Oath of Kaya art.
Oh yeah, like
neither here nor there.
That is boss queen energy right there. Like she looks like she's about to wave off your whole existence. Like she's gonna turn you into a ghost and then slay the ghost. Like, yeah. So this one's really low on the tier for me.
I get it. Oh yeah. If we're going, let's say S to like D tier, I wouldn't fully put it in D, but this is a solid like C or B. The only reason why I'm even getting close to B is because you can turn 1 exile something, and not turn 1, but the first turn it comes out, exile something and steal it.
If we're playing Oathbreakers and this is the Kaya and this is the Planeswalker you wanted to put out there, I'd be kind of scared of it. Like one opponent, slam that shit down. Hi, what's yours is mine. Your stuff is not coming back. Like this would in Commander. This is awful. Like Oathkeepers or Oathbreakers, I'd see this being good. In like any other format, like all you have to do is miss 1 land drop in a turn and then draw this card, and immediately you're just gonna hate everything. So,
rolling into the next one now. If you don't mind, I'll tag this one as well.
Sure.
I'll tag it first.
I'm down to taking the one after that too.
Cool. Yeah, Koth, Fire of Resistance. Well, we're looking at 2 generic red. +2, search your library for a basic mountain, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Neg 3, Koth, Fire Resistance deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. And then Neg 7, you get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. I think, personally, coming in at 4 for 4 CMC, I love this. I love this card. We're talking red, which generally, if you're running Gruul, you're not really worried about land tutoring or mana ramp. Green has the most mana ramp of any color. But when you're saying mono red, or you're looking at Rakdos or it's just or Boros, you're not ramping mana very well at all. So to be able to put this out there for CMC and go get a basic mountain, put it in your hand and shuffle, and you're gonna +2 it anyways because your real goal is to get that emblem out. I love this. For that alone, on my way to the emblem, I'm able to mana ramp. I like this a lot.
So I won't consider this ramp. This is card draw at best. I think that this card, if you feel spiritually connected to Jimmy Wong in missing your land drops and you play mono red,
yes,
this card is the greatest mono red card like ever because it can kind of fill up your hand a little bit. It'll give you some discard fodder. It gives you like basic mountains, so that way when somebody eventually does something terrible to your non-basics, you have like answers to stuff. It's got removal, and like it definitely says mountains. If there is a day when we get a mountain version of Urborg, this card's utility will shoot through the roof. Especially if you're playing like all of those types of things. That emblem is a little scary. And then again, I'll bring this up again with the 4 mana cost like slot. I think that there's better cards out there that cost 4 mana in multicolor. I will go back on record in saying that I do not play mono red. The closest I've ever come to playing mono red was going to play a Bosch deck, and that was going to be mainly colorless anyway. But reading this card, it checks a lot of good boxes for me. I thoroughly enjoy what this card aims to do and how much it supports its player. And I think that if anybody was going to take out a loan with me and they say I play Koth Fire Resistance, I would probably grant them that loan, because this sounds like a very responsible card in like all sorts of different ways. Gives you good payoff, gives you good cards.
That, and just in red, especially mono red, that emblem is phenomenal because you're able to ping in red so many ways. We're talking Impact Tremors, we're talking Perkvoros, we're talking the weaker version of this emblem right here in Valkut the Molten Pinnacle.
Okay.
And this is a $20 land that you would like. Personally, $20 for a land is a hefty investment into a deck.
Yeah. That sounds like a card I would tutor for. Like
exactly
$20
and
land.
This is a land. This is a land that says like it enters tapped. And whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you can have this land deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Where Koth now says, you get an emblem that says whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. So it does 1 more damage, and it's the same card as that land, except in a planeswalker.
Yeah.
It's when you go get mountains, which me personally, I miss land drops like crazy in my mono red decks.
Oh man, I totally forgot. That one game where you literally were sitting on all of your ramp, but you couldn't play any of it.
I had the boss hand, and I just sat there.
Oh.
Hey, thanks for jumping in the stream. We're talking about some of the Phyrexian planeswalkers that are coming out in the new set. Yeah, no, for me personally, we don't have to spend too much more time on this. I think we're both on the same page. With mono red for 4 CMC, this is not a bad investment into a deck, especially when you're talking. The emblem does something that you want to do in red, and red has horrible, and I know you said it's not necessarily ramp, but it has horrible go get land.
Well, I don't want to confuse anyone that's going to play mono red and say that this is ramp, because it's not going to bypass your extra land it's not going to give you an extra land per turn. And that's
of course. Okay, so I guess in that, I shouldn't be calling it ramp.
This is more fixing or guaranteeing that you're not going to miss your land drops. This is a card that like I would see somebody play and then they're like, I'm going to +2 and go look for a basic mountain, and I'm going to be like, okay, and then I'm going to go deal with something that's more threatening. And then they're going to do it again, and I'm going to be like, good for you, mono red or brass
and
deck.
And it's going to sleep its way into getting that emblem.
And then they're going to be like, I activate the emblem. And I'd be like, wait, it just altered. What does it do?
With the emblem, I have Torbrand on the field along with a Dictate of the Twin Gods. So now this emblem does 8 damage.
Yeah, here's my Fiery Emancipation. Here's my Panharmonicon. Here's my everything that says enter the battlefield and damage booster.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Actually, wait a minute. This would not actually work with Torbrand. It's not a red source.
Yeah, because the emblem is colorless.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, even if it was the mountain would still be colorless.
Yeah.
Oh.
The only one that
Oh,
could
that's
be is if Koth dealt the damage himself.
Oh man, I know I'm gonna go to an LGS one day and somebody's gonna make that mistake and I'm gonna crush their whole existence. Oh Jesus. I feel like this card just went like monochrome in my brain. I'm just like, oh god, I don't know if this is as good in a red deck because you really want that, but also, I mean, Panharmonicon effects would still work. And like, if you have a Boros deck, if you have like a Boros Planeswalker and you're gonna throw the new Elesh Norn in there, that would also trigger twice. Oh man. See, I was thinking all those red damage doublers, and now I'm kind of second guessing myself a little bit. I like even with that though, I'm
Yeah,
happy closing.
I just checked it up really quick on Ask a Judge, and yeah, although Valkut, because I checked based on that land, that mountain.
Yeah.
Although Valkut has the red color identity for commander as a function of being a restriction in deck building, in game it is considered a colorless source.
Yep.
So as such, the emblem and I guess the only thing that would work would be his neg 3 would trigger the Torbrand thing that I was mentioning. But yeah, all right.
Which is still actually pretty good.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Anybody who's running a domain deck where it cares about basic land types, Urborg and Yavimaya are colorless cards and therefore can go into any commander deck.
Yeah.
There is a difference between a color identity and the color of a card, which always sucks when you make that mistake. Alrighty.
Right, here we're on to Luca, Bound to Ruin, and you can kick this one off.
You know, I started really getting into Magic the Gathering around Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, and honestly, I didn't read the story all that much, but I saw Luca's card art, and I think I got caught up with everyone else on how, like, cool looking he was and, like, what he was doing. And when this card got spoiled, it was like, everyone was like, oh no, so sad. Anyways,
I don't know anything about Luca.
yeah, no, he's like an anti-hero without being a hero. Like,
Yeah.
If Deadpool
He
wasn't
didn't care about his pets as much as he should.
if you
and not
stripped
care about politics.
Ryan Reynolds off of Deadpool and then took all of his heartwarming stories and like the pink unicorns, that's basically Luca. He has befriended a tiny fox, which Where's Mila on Twitter earlier today almost broke me because he has a companion that is just gone, and now there's this big ugly thing behind him that definitely is not that. But
that's not a wolf. That looks like a
Yeah.
rhinoceros.
yeah, that is definitely somebody beast within Mila, and then Luca took it to heart, went straight to Phyrexia and was like, "Here, fix this," and they said, "Sure," and then this is what happened.
Killed him.
Yeah. Story beats aside, here is Luca Bound to Ruin. This is 2 red, green, and a hybrid Phyrexian Gruul.
Really quick. Non-Phyrexian Luca.
You know, I totally could get that. See, I almost put a cosplay together of Luca, and I'm still kind of considering it, but now I feel like I have to get used to doing more tubing in my cosplay. So let's go over some rules text real fast. This is Phyrexian mana there between the red and the green in the cast cost. So if anyone is used to paying hybrid mana, you know that you can spend either red or green in this instance if that was like normal hybrid. However, Hail Phyrexia, because the Phyrexian symbols are in there, which means you can either pay 2 life, a red, or a green for that one. So you can either read this as a 4 mana, 2 life for a 3 mana Planeswalker, or 5 mana and 0 life for a 5 mana Planeswalker. And this is completed, and the completed rules text is that you can pay it with either red, green, or 2 life, like I said. If you pay life in this way, it enters the battlefield with 2 fewer loyalty counters. Which in some of them definitely feel worse when you pay the Phyrexian mana, but being kind of this dual cast card means that like you're definitely not in an instance where you can't afford this. So his +1 ability is add a Gruul. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate creature abilities. His -1 is create a 3/3 green beast Phyrexian creature token with Toxic 1. Toxic 1 is kind of like Infect, except it only works on players, and it only gives them 1 poison counter. So that 3/3 green beast, if that had Infect, it would give you 3 poison counters. But since it only has Toxic, it'll give it just 1 per hit. And then -4, Luca does X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers where X is the greatest power among creatures you control as you activate this ability. This honestly is pretty great in a Gruul deck. Not gonna lie.
I'd put this Phylath, the World Sculptor. Isn't really landfall, but I think would go pretty good.
I mean, yeah, I see a lot of potential to put this in like a non like creature type eccentric. So like I have a Tovolar the Dire Hunt commander deck where it kind of focuses on like it focuses on wolf and werewolf tribal basically. And something like this would be kind of neat because this could be a 4-mana ramp spell that gives you 2 red, or it gives you a green and a red, which is really, really nice. And then it gives you like an alternate win con with the toxic. And then he, of course, has his like big multi-damager. He definitely isn't out there to be like, hey, like I'm in any strategy, but it definitely kind of demands that you be in a certain realm of Gruul.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see this. Like you were mentioning with the last one, I don't see this one as a threat. When I look at this Planeswalker, it's a mana rock. Most of the time, you're gonna pay 4 and 2 life. You're gonna plus them up 1. To get the 2 mana, so now it's essentially you paid 2 and 2 life to cast him. And then from there, you're just going to kind of use this to cast bigger creatures, or you're going to neg 1 it to get that Phyrexian Beast, which in all reality, neg 1 for a 3/3 isn't bad at all. But I don't see this one as a giant threat, and if we're going in the like how you said, it doesn't really fit any specific theme. Maybe a token one where you have like token doublers, so you neg 1 and instead of getting 1 3/3, you get like 4 3/3s or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, real fast. Do you have an open door to the room that you're in?
I don't. Both doors are closed. My kid is just going nuts in the background.
Okay. I was gonna say I'm it's picking it up and I was like, if he's got a door open.
Yeah, no. Door closed and door closed.
Yeah.
He's just losing his mind.
I was sitting in my attic alone.
Oh, man.
I'm sitting in my attic alone talking about Phyrexia. Phyrexia.
Hail Phyrexia.
So
So I kind of went out of my way to be like, is there any other Gruul planeswalkers that produce mana? And I remember knowing that there was an Arlen that did that.
there's also Domri.
Yeah. So like the only deck that I have to really reference off of this, my girlfriend has a Phylath deck, which is all about lands. So it doesn't run any mana rocks or anything like that. It's all Kodama's Reach and Nature's Lore and that kind of deal. And then I have a werewolf themed deck. And I guess I can bring everyone's attention to Arlen, the Pack's Hope. This is 2 and a Gruul legendary planeswalker. Arlen comes down with 4 loyalty. And then it's a daybound, nightbound. We won't get into the rules text of that one because that one is kind of a Midnight Hunt specific set and an Innistrad kind of repeated one. But if she is on her flip side for the nightbound, she is still comes down as a 4 loyalty planeswalker, but she has a +2, and then she adds a Gruul. I do run this effect in my Tovolar deck, but I like her neg 3 is create 2 green wolf creature tokens, and then like she has like a different ability to like cast things at flash speed, which if anyone knows any of my deck construction, I love to play at flash speed when things tell me to play at sorcery speed. This one can also turn itself into a creature where it's like a 5/5 werewolf with indestructible trample and haste. I think I would love to see like Luca as a planeswalker like meld himself with another beast and kind of like showcase some of that, like, you know, like the creature, I forget what they call it, but it's like the creature bound or something like that effect that a lot of the planeswalkers or a lot of the people had on Ikoria. But like I think if somebody was getting into Magic these days and could kind of understand the Phyrexian like half of Luca, I think that this is like a good beginner planeswalker to be like, here's Gruul, here's everything you're gonna do in Gruul, add a whole bunch of mana but only for creatures, and then like
be big and stompy.
Yeah, big stompy. Here's a 3/3. Get used to creating those. Great use of giving them other things aside from just their 3/3 power. And then if you need to hit the panic button, this is a 5 mana, deals X damage to anything. If you're playing Hydras or anything else, like you're just going to absolutely shoot down the field. I like that his negative has any number of targets and also includes Planeswalkers. Won't hit that Kaya, but that's what you pay 7 mana for.
Yes.
But I all around, like, he's such a B tier, but like I really would
Yeah.
struggle to have him as like a premiered card that I'd be excited about in like an opening hand or beginning of game.
Yeah, I've got my Monkey's Gruul. And it doesn't
Kibo
fit. It
Kibo
doesn't-
just comes out and is like, here's Luca bound to ruin.
yeah, it's just it doesn't do it for me for that, and I think that's what you said. This is like a niche Gruul Planeswalker.
Yeah, I think he's like we have Gruul Planeswalkers at home, and like this isn't a bad card, but it's not a great card. So I wonder if that doesn't make the cut because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Personally, he doesn't make the cut in any of my decks. If he did, it would have to be a token deck, or it would have to be something where like I just need more mana quickly. And
yeah,
in that essence, I'm not worried about protecting him that much. He's a 4 mana, 2 life, which ends up after I plus him up 1. Relative cost comes to just 2 colorless.
Yeah.
Not
I
a bad card, like you said, B tier. I'm not running to put him in a deck, but he's okay.
I think if this is the answer to the question of do I have a deck that will still want to ramp after turn 7, and like they're gonna know that they're gonna spend that, like a Kenrith kind of deck, I think that this would have a home in there just because it can create a couple things that you really want out of a Planeswalker is it can protect itself and it can give you some like value no matter what the game state is. And this checks both of those boxes. But like if you don't think that you're gonna need ramp late game, I don't think that this card is something that I'd recommend to people. Now, if they create a really cool, if they give me a really cool looking artwork for him as his like alternate, if his showcase looks really dope, I'll consider throwing him in a deck or two.
No, I think before we move on to the next one, I think you hit the nail on the head. If this was a meld Planeswalker and there was like a beast version and then him, and this was the meld version and it didn't have these abilities, but like, you know, it was a big fucking, call it 8/8 indestructible trample. Like,
yeah,
that would be, I think, really cool and definitely an addition to almost any Gruul deck. But as is, like you said, and like we were talking about, B tier.
man,
sure.
my brain just goes, all right, he has a 0 Planeswalker ability. He turns himself into an XX creature where X is his loyalty with Toxic X, and he has indestructible trample and haste. Like that,
for sure.
that would be something that I would shit my pants to if I saw that hit the field. I know that there is a Planeswalker out there that can turn himself into a creature and is indestructible, and I remember him being a big pain in the ass, but that's a whole nother story, and if he ends up being broken later, we'll definitely revisit that. Before we get into this next one, if anyone saw the 15th of January's drop for the story, this hurts, and it continues to hurt so much. Just take it away.
So here we've got again another cool mana ability in Nahiri, the Unforgiving. We're looking at a 1 colorless red Phyrexian Boros white. Without going into the completed Phyrexian Boros cost in any more depth, looking at either a 4 and 2 life or 5 CMC Planeswalker. Coming in with a +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target creature attacks a player each combat if able. +1, discard a card, then draw a card, and then 0, exile target creature or equipment card with mana value less than Nahiri's loyalty from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it. That token gains haste, and exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Personal thoughts on this Planeswalker. I am not impressed. One of the few benefits is that it does have graveyard recursion in Boros. Specifically, creature graveyard recursion in Boros, where they come back with haste and exile at the beginning of the next end step. But the fact that it's the equipment also gets exiled at the beginning of the next end step, I think if that's reworded to where the equipment sticks around, that completely turns around what this Planeswalker is worth. Because to be honest, the first two abilities aren't anything to... You're going to do those two to get a larger loyalty number to exile something bigger from your graveyard. I see that's the only reason why you do these +1s. Goading a target creature, okay, you goaded it. +1 for discard a card, then draw a card. You got a little bit of card advantage there, but again, nothing I'm chomping at the bits for. But yeah, if the equipment sticks around, I say that this turns easily into A, if not S tier Planeswalker in a Boros deck. You're talking creature and equipment recursion for 0 on a 4 CMC, 100%. As it is, with the equipment leaving at the beginning of the end step, just like a creature would, I'm not impressed, and this drops to a C for me.
So, Luna, why don't you give your thoughts on this one?
I could see it being used in some cases. Maybe it's sort of like a Oathgear the Reconstructor, and other than exiles and stuff at the beginning of end step. But I'd say definitely can see some use, but not a ton.
So, I initially was kind of with everybody on this card, and I think the more I've thought about it, like I follow a lot of like the creators that work for WotC, and like I kind of I watch a lot of their like decision making and like how they choose to like put cards together and like nerf them or buff them up. And like I seriously, that last line of text on her, the exile at the beginning of the next end step, I keep wondering how long did they sit on just that line of text being worth being in the card or not? And like I was like, is this better than I think it is? Like I legitimately sat there for a while, and like I really like Nahiri as a character. I think that her story right now is really solid. She does something bonkers in the current story that just launched today on the 15th. I think that this card reads a little differently than most people are expecting it to. This, to me, if I was going to play this card, it would be 1 in a Boros, pay 2 life for a 3 mana or a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. I can basically goad in a deck that I would have already wanted to have either lifelink or like I have a high density of death touch. Like the discard a card then draw a card. This is like the worst version of card draw that is in any, like to discard a card before you get to draw a card is like the worst variant of the like draw, discard,
100%.
scry. It absolutely is the worst because it doesn't give you any agency over what comes into your hand, and it doesn't net neutral your hand. So like if the card you draw was worse, then you just took a hit on something that's supposed to help you out.
Exactly, and that's why I mentioned these first two. I'm not even impressed with, and it's the last one doesn't justify 4 CMC for me.
Yeah, I totally see this being like a very good Mardu card though. Like there's lots of things that I've done in Mardu that I could ask it to do a whole lot of this. And that 0 for the exile target creature or equipment, honestly, I feel like a lot of people are getting hung up on the fact that the equipment doesn't stick around. I think that this card is a really good card for like if you have sacrifice decks or if you want to fill your graveyard with specific cards. Like I feel like for 3 mana and 2 life, you are getting a lot in a Planeswalker that everyone is going to write off. And I almost think that that's more powerful than anything else. Like, I know I said that Luca kind of demanded that you be in a specific realm of Gruul. And this card absolutely wants you to be in a very specific deck style. And, like, if you're not playing multicolor, like, if you play a lot of monocolor or a lot of, like, Boros, this card probably doesn't interest you. However, if you have Boros in your color identity for any of your decks, and you have like a sacrifice element to them or an ETB element to them, I implore you to look at this a little closer and just kind of goldfish it in your head for how good this would be. I did have one other thing with this card. There is a creator on TikTok, and I can't remember what her tag is, but I always know how to look her up because it's Ain't Easy Being Wheezy, and her.
I love her.
Her current obsession right now is I can fit my whole hand in a Pringles can.
Yeah.
And I can't stop seeing that when I stare at this card. Like, oh my god, she could fit her hands in Pringle cans.
Damn it. No.
You will never unsee that now.
Wheezy.
Yep, you will never unsee. She really kind of looks like her as like a creator. When I do the edit of this afterwards, I'm gonna lay into it super hard. But like this right here, I genuinely do think that this card is more powerful than most people are giving it credit for, and I think it plays better than it reads.
So I just went and did some digging really quickly while we were talking.
Okay.
And I found one that it works in Mardu. For sure.
Okay. What do you got?
Jan Jansen.
So, okay.
Jan Jansen, we're looking at it's the Chaos Crafter. You have this as your commander. You tap it to sacrifice an artifact creature, create 2 treasure tokens, or you tap it to sacrifice a non-creature artifact, create 2 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature tokens.
Yeah.
So with Nahiri's 0, you're bringing something back in, and like let's say you have a lot of artifact creatures in the deck, you could do this for the treasure.
Yeah.
Specifically the equipment that's not going to stick around anyways. You bring it in to sacrifice the artifact, and now you get 2 creatures.
Yeah.
So I think in a deck like this, again, we're getting into like niche.
Oh, this this is a build around. Like I know that there's some people that are going to look at this and be like, "Damn, I kind of like this. Why do I like this?" And the grave fill and bringing stuff back to sacrifice it is probably the realms that it's going to sit in.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a great card in other things. I have a Sylvar and Trin deck that really wants to sacrifice its own creatures, and also I really love it when people swing into me because my commander is indestructible. Being able to get multiple ETBs and LTBs out of my deck is just great, and I don't run a lot of recursion in that deck because I just kind of want to play out my hand and go for it. Nahiri is probably going in that deck just because she can just keep giving me back my stuff and get all of the life out of it. So yeah, it's definitely not your reanimator colors that like you normally think about, but I really do implore people to look at this one a little bit more.
Right. And then you talk about like a Naya, just really quick before we move on to the next one. You talk about like Naya, now you're doing and I believe that's the right color. I'm dumb now because I can't remember.
Naya would be green with this.
Okay, yeah. So in something like Naya, you have a ton of just super utility ETB green cards. So like play a Rex Sage, and then after that Rex Sage goes to the graveyard, now you can bring it back.
Yeah.
And we're talking a lot of the green ramp creatures. We're talking if she gets big enough, now you're pulling Crater Hoof back out of your graveyard.
Yes. That
you could just pull out for a 0. So again, in niche build around stuff, for sure, amazing card. But I think it's all of that is focusing specifically on creature. And I feel like the equipment, if they stuck around, like just take out or if it's a creature, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Like add those couple words in the beginning of that, and this automatically becomes an amazing planeswalker.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. That would be a really good buff, and I kind of wonder if there's something really terrible that like is fitting that other niche. I think you skipped a card there, my friend, because
Did I?
She might have blinked out of the way, but the next one you had on the list there was the Eternal Wanderer. I am stoked that she is okay. Again, Kamigawa Planeswalkers. I loved the mystery of this random Planeswalker just running around. I love all the small little art notices where she's in like different card arts and stuff like that. You can see her kind of like wandering around, and like you can see her in full art lands and stuff like that. But the Eternal Wanderer is back. She breaks my heart in this new set because like she definitely ramps up the anxiety for the story. Because they're already in danger all over the place, and I won't dive into it, but just the fact that she just keeps like blinking in and out, and like sometimes she can control it and sometimes she can't, just absolutely spears me right in the chest. But this is going to be an expensive Planeswalker that I'm going to go to bat for. So this is a 6 mana, it's 4 and 2 white mana for a 5 loyalty. No more than one creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. This is exactly what you want on a Planeswalker. This line of text, like even if there's other Planeswalkers you're putting in the deck, this one can protect itself even if you want to use some of its other abilities. So the +1 is exile up to 1 target artifact or creature, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at their next end step. If you have a coveted jewel, if you have anything that's got a great ETB, this is monocolored, so you could fit this in almost any deck. That is repeatable, almost ephemerate. Kind of not ephemerate, but like if you want to blink your creatures, that gives them pseudo vigilance. You can basically snipe copies, which there is lots of copy commanders out there these days. Like this can knock out like Eldrazi Scions and like the big 10/10 Eldrazi's and stuff like that. Like this is great, and this is a +1. The 0, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. She used to create 2/2 white samurai, so it's nice to see that they're back. Also, the decks that I put her in, I'm actually really glad that they're not humans. Probably would have been a little bit more busted to have them come in as artifacts because it's from Kamigawa, but honestly, I'm not even worried about that right now. It's got double strike, baby. That is deterrent for tokens. That is deterrent for tramplers. That is like... Oh, that is beautiful. Like, that is one of the scariest... Oh, that's one of the scariest, like, tokens I've seen come out of a Planeswalker when it's just the one. And then -1, each player... For each player, you choose a creature they control. Each player sacks the rest of them. Oh!
1/1 softer.
Yeah, no, sorry. Goodbye. Dunks your whole board. Sorry, are they hexproof, shroud, indestructible, double strike, keyword soup? Nah, that Beast Within token I made for you last turn, that's the one that you're gonna keep. Fuck my life, this is really great. And that, all of her abilities, she can survive on the turn you play her with any of them. So this is a sorcery board wipe that you get to pick the outcome of.
So I agree. Every one of her abilities is good. The fact that she has a anti-menace, I don't know what it's called, where it's like they can only be attacked by one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna call it the tunnel. They have the tunnel.
Crawl space. Crawl space
there we go.
Yeah, crawl space is the card that makes it so you can only attack with one creature.
Okay, so built-in crawl space, or the one that's sitting there in the cross-legged Grand Arbiter? No, maybe. Anyways.
Yeah.
Love that that's built into here, just like I loved Kaya's Hexproof. The thing that hurts me here, well, two things. The first is that neg 4 for the board wipe doesn't say for each opponent, it says for each player. So I must sacrifice all of my things as well. I get to choose a creature I control, and then everything also goes away. So you were saying yes, board wipe. I would love if that said for each opponent.
Oh yeah.
And then also she's doing all this wandering. Yeah, but she's doing all this wandering, and I have a soft spot in my heart for my Hedis Yoshimaru deck, and the ever faithful doggo is just sitting there waiting for her to come back. So I don't like this Planeswalker.
Oh.
I
will agree. She needs to go visit her dog at home.
Funnily enough, even though story-wise it makes zero sense, I would love to put her in the new Machine Mommy deck
Oh man, I mean she does blink, so like getting those
Yeah.
ETBs in definitely really solid. It definitely would not put like if she was completed, I would cry. I would be in a closet for a little while, like crying. I did okay. So there were her -4. I swear a card did that. It's called Single Combat, and it's a 5 mana, 3 white. Each player chooses a creature. They can't. The only two differences is that each player gets to choose who's their champion, and players can't cast spells or planeswalkers until your next turn. This one is just a you choose. Yeah, I know that there's ways that this card could be better. However, I know that this card is going to be legal, and I'm probably going to die on the hill. Is she's probably, I'd almost go so far to say she's probably the best planeswalker we're getting in this set for the colors that they're all in. Maybe
I disagree.
May,
We're gonna get to the one that I think.
I mean, there's one of them that is terrifying.
There's one that I really like that's probably coming up.
Also,
let me look at the list and see where we're at.
Also, we are missing a few from the list as I'm now noticing it, and the Eternal Wanderer is in the spot twice.
Oh, it is.
So we are gonna have to do a little bit of digging, real fast just to see.
2 cards have been completely revealed.
We're missing
with all abilities and stuff.
We're missing Jace, and then the only one that's no Nissa was released.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't see.
Yeah, Nissa's out there.
Oh,
wait.
that's okay. So the reason why I didn't have it in the list is because we currently, like, when I look up the Jace teased for this is the only clear image I could find.
Oh, the one where they're holding the cards.
They're holding the 3 cards. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna grab it and we'll pull it up here and we can talk about it.
Do you want to put him in the list next?
Yeah, here, let me do. Image really quick.
It's kind of 3 in 1.
Yeah.
And then here, I'll drop it into the Discord. So it pops up here. So there's that in the Discord. I've got it pulled up on mine as well. And this does also have the Nissa as well.
Yeah. Because Vraska got spoiled today. There is no. I guess we will have to go back and re-edit this one a little bit later. Jace has not been officially spoiled, so I guess that's a misplay on our part. But we'll definitely go back and re-edit it in when he'll probably be released tomorrow. Honestly, if I'm
next couple days.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn it. If she would have just showed us the things
before you're done editing this, you can just record yourself talking a little bit about it. And then add that in there.
Ain't no big. We still have other things to talk about. Tony, which one did you want to pick up next? The mono black one I feel like we should leave for last. Because I got some words for that one.
So that is the one that I kind of wanted to get into.
You can take that one. Let's talk about Tyvar then.
I really like the mono black one.
Yeah. I was actually gonna say I am running close to my time here for this. So
do you want to have a split episode and we'll pick this up a little later, or?
Well, I was gonna say we can tag if we tag them. We give them their time, but tag them rather quickly. I think we'll be all right.
Here, all right. We'll run down this one. So let's head on to Tyvar Jubilant Brawler.
There it is. I apologize for the blurry image that I have on mine, as well as probably the one that you have on yours. It is one of the only images of the release.
Yeah, it's one of the leaked ones for sure. So this one is one in Golgari. You may activate creatures. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. So this is kind of like your pinger bonus. +1, untap 1 target creature, -2 mill 3 cards, and they may return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. I think this is what happens when you leave your vegetables to saute for too long, and then you wish that they were just bigger afterwards. I don't have a
Pretty
lot to,
mid.
I don't have a lot to say on this. It's a cheap planeswalker that doesn't do enough. Like, I think there's all of like 3 decks that like you would be like, yes, this is absolutely the one. Like I'm pretty sure there's somebody that's like, I know how you feel about Nahiri because Tyvar is my hero, and especially this Tyvar. But in Golgari, I feel like in other colors, like if this was in Izzet, I would be like, oh shit, pingers for days coming in.
Yeah.
I feel I don't know how to read this card, and I play a lot of Golgari.
So I think this is the abilities on this are you're looking at green. This being Golgari is specifically because of the mill and the graveyard recursion. And I mean
Green also
that's,
has that.
yeah, but but this is that if we're talking about getting things out of the graveyard and milling, like you're looking at black, you know.
Yeah.
You can activate abilities of creatures though they have had haste. Like you're looking at a 3 CMC enchantment there, or even a 2 or 1 CMC enchantment.
Yeah.
Untap up to 1 target creature. I'm seeing this being big in like Sylvala, and almost any of the big mana dorks like Circle of Dreams Druid, things like that.
Yeah.
That's where like that one would be really good. But again, you're focusing on green for that. I can't seem to think of a black tap effect that's like, oh shit, like I hope he doesn't do that again. you
Yeah,
know?
I have a cleric's deck where a couple of my creatures can tap and sacrifice other creatures and they just go crazy. This is nice
Yeah,
for that, but like this
Cleric,
either
you're
demand.
talking about Orzhov. You're not talking about Golgari.
Well, no, what's really funny is I actually have an Abzan cleric's deck, so this would actually
Okay.
fit in there. And it also cares about mill. But again, this is like, I know that I have a deck that could utilize this if I was forced to play it, and it wouldn't break the strategy. It just,
There's so many things for
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a
niche-
Frankenstein card where like it was half of like one card and then half of another card, and they were separate like abilities.
Yeah.
The pseudo like vigilance would be kind of nice, where you can activate like creature abilities and like you're cool. I just, I don't.
Honestly, anything that goes from the graveyard to the battlefield is always nice.
Yeah.
Being able to do it the turn it comes out and this still sticks around. And so it's like it comes from the graveyard to the battlefield and has haste, so it can do the thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that seriously hinders it is that it's mana value 2 or less.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know many dangerous 2 CMC cards.
yeah, it's just value. Like
Yeah.
this is like, I think that we just keep like looping around the fact that this is a Lathril card.
Yes.
It just doesn't. Yeah, no, this is Lathril or Abomination of Llanowar. This is very mid tier. It'll probably be scary in somebody's deck, but not in any of mine.
So a
Yeah.
way to cheat out elves or squirrels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, moving into the last one. At least the last one that I have anything really on. is
Let me
Vraska.
let me get a quick rundown real fast and just make sure we've hit everyone else. Scary Mommy is about to hit the field. And I feel for anyone that is anyone who loves Jason Vraska's story is gonna be hurt 7 different times in this episode.
So,
And
love what she
I
did.
want to
with
see them
Jace.
become Team Rocket together.
Yeah, love what she
Oh,
did with
Jesus.
Jace. Completed Jace is what we all needed,
uh
especially in the eyes of trying to save his love, and that's all she needed was that split second. Mwah, storytelling. Now,
let me so something that I saw on Twitter today that is gonna break people's faces. Do me a favor and show your stream Vraska the Unseen, and if you can, put both images right next to each other, and I think you'll understand why.
okay, Vraska the Unseen.
Yep, this is a Return to Ravnica.
Okay, I was gonna say which version. There's a couple here.
Uh,
I'll just go with this first one.
not the dual
that popped
decks, not the Jace versus Vraska. Go with the
Return to Ravnica.
yeah, that one.
All right, so yeah, here, let's get this up, and then You're saying like split them side by side.
Yeah, like look at both card arts side by side.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I can see the Phyrexian there.
No. So the reason this is relevant is because when Vraska was a lot more like ruthless and like murderous, this was the point in time when she was at peak, and her story has progressed to where she's been more of a good person and more of like a good guy. And the fact that they mirrored her art in the Phyrexianized version means that she regressed back into her Return to Ravnica days.
Love it.
That
It
is
is
a very cool story thing.
Oh God, does it hurt? But not nearly as much as ignoring a Vraska betrayal sting. Would you kindly read this absolute murder fest?
Okay, so we've got 4 colorless,
That's
a black, and a Phyrexian black. So same thing as the dual color. You can either pay black or 2 life. If you pay the 2 life, it comes in at a 4 instead of a 6.
You are going to be greedy, and you're going to cast this for the full 6.
You're going to cast it for the full 6. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to hit 0. You're going to draw a card, lose a life, just like you got a Phyrexian Arena out, and you're going to proliferate.
Oh, I just realized she's got Phyrexian Arena on her. Oh, man, that breaks me. There is also a reprint of Phyrexian Arena, and it does feature Vraska in the art. You don't have to pull it up, but like if you...
pull it up.
Oh, man. I just realized that she has Phyrexian Arena on her. Man, this card gets better and better the more you read it.
This card, this is the one that I need the most.
Yeah.
This
is going to be the Shieldred of this set. For anyone...
No, it's not in the images. I don't feel like actually digging out
art. You don't need to. But basically, it's the scene...
Another Shieldred is going to be Machine Mommy.
Yeah. So the thing about Proliferate is that it reads as a 0 mana loyalty ability, but the Proliferate will give it a counter. So
some fucking reason you didn't want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you could choose not to give her a counter, but this card can plus its own loyalty, and I feel like new players might miss that one. Proliferate is going to be a big effect in this new set. So this is this is Phyrexian Arena +1. On her first ability, and then
so then I believe it's Containment Sphere. I was just trying to look it up really quick so I don't say it wrong.
Minimus Containment.
Minimus Containment. There we go.
Yeah, it's
the -2 is you just turn a creature into a treasure token.
Yeah.
So like in the last episode when we were talking about removal, and the worst kind of removal, personally, what that I had mentioned in that episode was the one where it doesn't actually get rid of it; it just turns it into something else.
Yeah, funny enough, we didn't actually talk about Minimus Containment, but it's not as good as Imprison in the Moon because it turns it into a land.
You can just sack it.
Yeah, you can sack it, and it technically ramps the opponent. But oh man, to be able to do that every turn, even if you were like, I know she's got an alt, but I'm just going to torture you by treasuring all of your stuff. Damn!
And then, again, getting into the fact that Toxic is a huge thing in this. And, we're just going to be making Infect decks with Toxic stuff in them because the amount of Proliferate this set has.
Yeah.
We get into the ult here at -9. If a target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. Now, what we're saying there is, somebody has 4 poison. You've given them 1 poison counter.
Yeah.
By the time you even get to 9, you've proliferated 3 times. Now they're at 4. And then if they have fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number equal to the difference. They get 5 more poison counters just by you hitting that neg.
Yeah.
And
so I
make it to your next turn with her, and then you kill them.
Yeah. This is a card that could go in any black deck. And it
100%.
You may be like, but Dino, what about the whole poison thing and the proliferate thing? That doesn't matter. This card if you were playing a mono black deck and you slam this thing down and it's not answered, it has the potential to kill anybody and everybody no matter what board state they are.
Yep.
Solemnity aside, if you see this in Atraxa, you're already dead. Welcome to Phyrexia. You you are not alive if this hits the field and someone's playing a proliferate deck. It's just not. If
Have-
they can add counters, if somebody goes like, hi, I have Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider on the field, and I cast Vraska's Betrayal Sting, you better have like an instant speed answer to kill that player, because otherwise you are dead. It's just not like this card. You need very, very little to build around to turn this thing into an instant player killer. And like, it takes care of itself. You can turn your own shit into treasure tokens. You can card draw. Like, this has everything stapled to its own ass, and it has like boss energy stapled to the whole thing. This is going to absolutely ruin people's lives if you let it hit the field. And I know there's lots of like instances of like scary planeswalkers, but like mono black and counters matters. This is gonna be bonkers, and we don't even know, because there is gonna be a new Atraxa card. She has shown up way too much in the lore for her not to get a new card, or at least a reprint, and she's already gotten a reprint. If you see this card and you know that they're proliferating anything, or it's an infect deck, you're already dead. You just don't know it yet.
And so
Honestly,
probably the
love
rest of
it.
the board in a couple turns.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. This is going in my Ramses deck. This is going in my Dina deck. Like, this is going in my Rats deck. This is going in, it's a mythic, and I'm hoping I can grab it for cheap and then proxy the rest. But
Yeah.
Love the card.
Well, cool.
But
for everybody out
that's
there,
gonna be...
yeah, we're gonna wrap it up today. We're gonna have a part 2 to this one, covering a couple of the last minute planeswalkers and some build around stuff. If anybody is,
Case will get spoiled before then. So.
yeah, seriously,
Yeah, we'll probably hit some of the major cards that are coming out that we think are of importance, like the Proliferate Twice one that is teased currently.
yeah, we may also dig into some of the other.
From that one, from the Phyrexian Arena.
Yeah, we may also dig a little bit into like planeswalkers that have been completed already. Just kind of redigging into like the power level of Phyrexia. But for today, that is going to be the end of our stream. We appreciate everybody for stopping by. Of course, this is Accidental Dad, found on Twitch. I'm, of course, Lord Mordino, found on YouTube. Luna, do you have any tags that you would like to throw onto here?
Nothing that relates to magic, so nah.
All right, good stuff. Well, everybody, be aware. February 10th, this is going to drop, and we're all going to be shitting our pants until then. But until next week, we'll catch you around.
Yeah, take it easy.
Goodbye.